please help me give a warm welcome to the stage our moderator, Tammy Pettigrew, the Cannabis Cutie, and our two speakers, Aaron Coffey of High Rise and Ben Crame of Weed Feed.
Hello, welcome everyone to this panel. My name is Tammy, AKA the Cannabis Cutie, and we're here to talk cannabis media. And it feels so good to be back at Hall of Flowers 2021. We missed it last year due to the pandemic, but we're back, and it's so great to see everyone out here. You are all beautiful. I am a cannabis educator in the space, and what I like to do is provide the complex information of the cannabis industry and translate it into something that's easy to understand. So that's what I do, but I want to go ahead and let my guests introduce themselves as well.
What's up, guys? My name is Aaron Coffey. I'm the owner of High Rise. We have a cannabis agency, and we do marketing for a lot of the brands here in the space. We also do media kind of on the other side, YouTube, Instagram, original cannabis content, and yeah, glad to be here.
Hey everyone, I'm Ben Crame. I am the founder at Dumpling House Media and its many media brands, Weed Feed being one of them, the one that brought me here. Dumpling House Media is a creative media company that also represents a lot of the brands here today. And Weed Feed is a cannabis hub for people who live a highly functional lifestyle. And so I'm excited to be here. Thank you all for coming.
All right, so part of cannabis media is social media, and we all have our own platforms that we use here in the cannabis industry. So before we talk about the potential that is cannabis in social media, let's get the negative out of the way and talk about the pitfalls. Ben, can you tell me about one major pitfall that you really dislike about cannabis and social media?
You know, being the founder of a media company and speaking to brands all day long, whom all they care about is customer acquisition and sales, the greatest pitfall for me personally is the fact that you can't pay to advertise on these platforms. But it's a double-edged sword because it actually opens up opportunity for me at Dumpling House to offer alternate opportunities that aren't necessarily to say pay Facebook to run ads, but instead pay people like us to reach millions of people without having to go through Facebook. But I know what Tammy is really trying to get at is, as a pitfall, is the fact that brands are getting taken down all day from Instagram and TikTok and other social media platforms, and that really fucking sucks. So I'm sure, Aaron, you have some shit to say about that too.
Yeah, it's been really tough. Obviously, everybody knows Instagram, cannabis doesn't really get along well, and yeah, I think like my thing is just kind of like the gray area. It's like they allow some brands to post certain things, and then they don't allow other brands, and there's no like set rules or guidelines. It's just very gray, so it's kind of hard to like navigate that, obviously. And like Ben was saying, the deletions are obviously not fun to deal with, and yeah, it's hard having a cannabis marketing agency and you can't post cannabis, so makes it a little tricky, but it's all just kind of navigating and everybody's kind of in the same boat, so that's kind of how I look at it.
Could we get a raise of hands of any people here who are dealing with kind of the bullshit that is taking down your account or your posts on Instagram? Okay. So clearly you're in the right place. Hey.
Wow. Waking up to that white screen on Instagram is one of the worst feelings. I've had it happen twice personally. But another really major pitfall is the shadow ban. And I don't know if you have seen recently that some of the hashtags for cannabis are getting quite ridiculous. So if you click on THC as a hashtag, a prompt comes up for you to get help with your opioid crisis. So it's getting worse. I thought it was getting better, but we are kind of seeing a lot of our friends' pages and brands' pages just going down left and right. So definitely one of the pitfalls, but I think one of the positives about that is we now have people who can get these accounts back. we're all kind of meeting somebody who knows somebody for a fee that can get you your page back. So that's kind of the game right now. So do you have any other pitfalls? I know you have a different perspective because you you manage a lot of talent in the space as well. Do you have anything else that is kind of a pitfall that maybe is out the box that we're not thinking of?
In terms of Instagram, I think the main thing is just like, it's just, you can't post like anything cannabis. It's like you have to work around it and like figure out creative, like subtle kind of ways to get creative and not post nugs. And like I think it was Plug and Play, and I thought they had a really like great idea. They're like posting, like for instance, they have a train wreck strain. Instead of posting the nug, they make like a funny video of Peter, who's like their brand rep, like running in front of a train on like a green screen. And it's like train wreck. It's just like kind of a clever, like funny way to spin off of it, show the strain, but not actually show the strain, you know? So yeah, it's difficult, but there's obviously ways to, you know, get creative and work around it.
I think also another pitfall that I was talking about earlier with Rama is that I think that like what we have to all recognize is that everyone in this room right now and anyone at this convention right now are the first in this space that is emerging, and we have not even scratched the surface. And I know that because we're all in business, it feels natural to hate your competition, but there's a lot of fucking people who smoke weed. And so for me, the biggest pitfall is that people feel like they need to do the nasty competitive things like reporting their competition's accounts. And I think it's really important to recognize that that is not necessary. It's not necessary to report the other cannabis brands in the space. And so often do brands come to me and say, oh, we got taken down. Do you know why? What could we do to prevent it? Even Aaron just mentioned, oh, how do we not post pictures of nugs and this and that? I post pictures of nugs every single day. But I don't have competition because I'm not selling weed right now. And so no one's reporting me, knock on wood, please don't report me. But the same isn't true for other people in the space. And so often our brands like, do you know why? Is it the nugs? Is it the word? Is it the hashtag? It's because you have haters. It's because people are reporting you, and Facebook doesn't give a shit enough to be like, is this really bad or not? They're like, fuck it, we got 5 million reports. Let's just take this shit down. So like, the big word is stop reporting, end this culture. It's pointless, it's stupid. They're just gonna report you back. Everyone's just gonna report each other, then no one's gonna have business, no one's gonna have accounts. Let's all just make one big peace treaty when it relates to social. You know, competition is still healthy, it's still America, make the best product, make the nicest packaging, do the most marketing. But reporting accounts should not be part of your marketing strategy.
I agree. Yeah, so many cannabis pages are getting hate speech violations for positive posts. So that's kind of a hint that you have haters coming after you. And I agree, we kind of need to keep the peace and go in a positive direction. So those are the perils. Let's talk about the potential. Cannabis cannot be traditionally marketed. You can't buy a Facebook or an Instagram ad, so then it's left to the marketers. Let's talk about some of those positives.
Yeah, I mean, there's endless opportunity. You know, I'm like a big food guy. I love watching Food Network and food shows, and I'm always so amazed by what chefs are able to kind of pull out their asses on that show Chopped. Anyone watch that show Chopped here? Yeah. So on Chopped, it's like, all right, here is quail egg and like calf's asshole. Now make some amazing dish. And they're always able to come up with the craziest shit. And I think the confines are what make people get more creative. It's kind of like a forced creativity. And so with the regulations in the space and regulations on social media, there's not a lot you can do. Like, we kind of have our hands tied, but that forces us to be creative. And so whether that means partnering with influencers like the Cannabis Cutie, or whether that means coming up with creative ways to get people to talk about your brand with weird, different, unique content, or it means throwing events or, you know, creating stunts. I think it forces us to get our minds going And lucky for us, we're in an industry where we get to smoke weed and be creative. And so I think that it's hard because there's regulations, but every industry has, their red tape. But talk to people like Tammy or people like myself or people like Aaron who could harness that red tape into something that will be a better dish than if you had the whole pantry to choose from.
Yeah, definitely forces creativity. I think one of the beautiful things that came out of the pandemic was the new way in which we spell weed, which was OUID. And that was able to kind of pass by the algorithm for a little while. So the creativity definitely is one of the fun things about the red tape. Aaron, do you have any perspectives on the positives of cannabis in media?
Yeah, like Ben was saying, it kind of forces you to look at other options and other avenues. And for us personally, what we've kind of been going deeper on is doing offline things like community events and like bringing all this social following to real life and like making those like deeper connections through kind of curated mixers of, like-minded people. Maybe we'll do one with growers or influencers or media or maybe all of them, you know what I mean? So definitely focusing on like going deeper on the current following and converting that offline or to other channels where it's not as risky getting deleted and losing all these contacts and stuff like that.
I think also, sorry, I just got a little light bulb moment. We're all in weed, so we tend to just think about the weed industry, but weed is something that pairs best with other things. It pairs best with food. It pairs best with experiences, with music, with art. And so in that creative thinking, think about those other categories and those other areas outside of weed that can pair perfectly and ping pong off of it, If you're just talking to weed, like so many people smoke weed, but they don't define themselves as, weed industry people. Don't limit yourself just to that. Don't limit partnerships to partnerships with weed brands, influencers for weed. Look at the whole world. There's so much out there to play with. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of talking about differentiating yourself. And when I look at Weed Feed and what you guys built, you created an entire new lane of taking cannabis art into just nug art that has been genius. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Because I see so much art that's coming out that's very similar, but we know who the OGs are.
Thank you. I mean, I have an amazing team, so I have to give it up for them really first and foremost. And I think so much of where we are today is probably because of that. Culture is such an important thing. So the company culture is so pushy to be creative, and I think that's the most important thing. We have whiteboard meetings every morning where we're just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what is the best thing that works. But I don't remember what the question was, but I mean, all in all, it's really the same thing I just said before. It's just be creative and try things. With Weed Feed, with this whole art style that you're talking about, I'd love to say, oh, we strategized for months and then we did this big launch of this new art style that we're gonna put out. It's not true. The truth is you just try things. You just try, and then when you see a hint of a light at the end of the tunnel, you follow it, And there's so much fear that comes with posting. I can't even, I post all day. I have so many accounts, but if you look at my personal account, I don't post shit because it's very vulnerable, And I get that, but especially when you get to do it on behalf of your business, not your personal account, try things. No one gives a shit. If the content's bad, they're just gonna scroll. They're not gonna remember. They're not gonna know. They're not gonna care. What they're gonna remember is shit they like that they see consistently. And so if you try one post style and it doesn't work, no one's remembering. It does not matter. It only matters for you that you got to learn that and cross that off the list. So just try shit, post shit. Don't focus on perfecting all the time. And when you see a spike in engagement on a certain style, follow it.
Wow, really, really great tips. Aaron, you guys are known for creating cannabis experiences, and you guys kind of dominate in that area. Can you talk about how that translates for the creators, influencers, as marketers, and how that works for the brands?
I'm sorry, can you ask that one more time? What was the first part?
How beneficial is it for brands to work with you and the experiences that you create for marketing?
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, it's obviously just like connecting like-minded people and getting brands aligned with influencers that have the same kind of like values and goals, and then leveraging that to create, cool experiences or content or, videos, events, whatever it may be. And yeah, just kind of getting creative. And our whole thing is just like literally exactly what Ben was just saying. It's all about trying and testing, and everybody like tries to make everything perfect and spend a month on one photo that you're gonna scroll past in 1 second. And exactly what you're saying, like nobody cares, and you just put shit out. You know what I mean? See what works. When you find what works, just double down and just keep doing more of that. So like with us, we literally like just try random shit, like do a chili cook-off for 420, and then we do like a fucking bowling tournament, like just see what hits. Some of them hit, some of them don't, but we gain that data and we can apply that and keep getting better in the future. So yeah, just testing, trying, different things for sure.
Okay, so say federal legalization comes and social media can now use cannabis. Does the influencer model still exist, and will it survive?
I think there will always be a place for influencers, even not so much of selling the product, but using them to gain trust or social proof. When somebody sees an influencer using a product, they're more likely to trust that product if a legitimate person is backing it. So I think there's always going to be that sense of influencers, celebrities, whatever you want to call it, aligning with brands and products. And yeah, I think there obviously always be a place for that. Yeah.
Do you see a new social media popping up for the cannabis industry, since there's so much blowback at YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok? I know there's many out there that exist, but do you see that something realizing itself?
That's the one thing, right? Like the one thing everybody's tried. I don't even know how many companies I've talked to in the last 5 years that have tried to do it. Everybody's tried, but nobody's quite figured it out. Obviously, there's a huge need for it, and I think hopefully eventually somebody will figure it out. But yeah, I don't know. I've seen a lot of people try, and nobody's quite got it down yet. So I don't know. It'll be interesting with all the new like crypto, blockchain, like all those, like, I don't know, there could be a potential like play there where, you can post whatever the fuck you want because there's no regulations to it. So who knows, hopefully.
The thing is, it can't be just for weed, Like, I love weed a lot, but I'm not checking Weedstagram every day. Just not, like there's other shit I like. And so it really comes down to companies like Facebook and TikTok opening up their eyes and realizing that, not that there's a lot of good people in weed, because they don't give a shit about that. All they care about is money. And so what they need to recognize is that there's money in weed, and they will, as soon as federal legalization happens. I think they're going to open up their shit the same way they did for alcohol. It might be just for people who are over 21. There's still going to be some like age gating type shit, but this is America, and those type of shot callers follow the money, and there's money, so fingers crossed.
Right. Well, hopefully we won't need our own social media platform. Hopefully we'll be able to scroll and look at our music and our art and our pictures of our friends' animals and children and our weed nugs without any retribution to the creators. Any lasting thoughts before we get into the Q&A, or any tips about people who do want to be in cannabis media or that are in cannabis media with like some advice?
I just have one best practice that I just want to throw out there that I see a lot in the weed space. No more giveaways. No more celebrity giveaways, please. It's not helping you. It's hurting you. My point isn't to shit on people or brands, because that would contradict what I said before, which is to try everything. it's been tried. I'm happy it existed so we could learn, but I'm a little sus about Instagram hating giveaways and it being very obvious for an algorithm to pick up that someone just got 40,000 new followers in 24 hours. So kind of to tap onto that previous question about like how to not get taken down, don't do shit like that. That's going to flag the algorithm because your page is determined on your engagement rate. So let's say everyone's goal is to hit like a 5-6% engagement rate. If you suddenly grow by 50,000 followers, but your engagement doesn't grow by that same amount, which it won't ever, your engagement rate is now like 0.0 garbage. And then Instagram and Facebook's algorithm is like, let's just say they don't care about the giveaways and they don't know about it. They're just like, here's a page with a really shitty engagement rate. They probably make bad content. I'm going to show it to less of their followers because bad content makes people leave the app and go to another app. And so they're not going to push your shit. So if you could walk away with anything, it's death to giveaways.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Aaron, any lasting thoughts?
Yeah, kind of just to piggyback off that, I think a huge problem is people worry about follower count like way too much, and that's always a huge thing when we talk to clients. It's like, I need to get to X amount of followers, or I need to grow like whatever, and like I think you just need to find the quality of followers. Like I would rather have, you know, somebody with 5,000 followers that's all CEOs and business owners and whatever it may be than 100,000 followers and they're all from a fucking giveaway. You know what I mean? So that's a huge thing people like definitely don't understand, and a lot of people focus too heavily on the following count when I think you should be looking at, you know, engagement and who is following them, and I think that's definitely more important than just your follower number or whatever.
Yeah, and it's kind of obvious when you know an account probably got their followers from a giveaway or other means. Your engagement is the most important thing. You could have 2,000 followers, but if your engagement is around 10%, you're winning. Brands are going to want to look at you. My advice, if you want to be in cannabis media, is just to be yourself. When you are not being yourself on that screen, we can feel it, and we don't want to see it. It kind of is uncomfortable. So if you're not somebody that wants to make funny content of you smoking, please don't do it. Do what you know how to do best. For me, I'm really good at breaking down complex things and making them easy to understand, so that's what I do. And I started making car videos. And people are like, why are you making videos in your car? One, I have really good lighting, and it's right after I drop my kids off at school. It's quiet. So that's what I started doing until I gradually upgraded and got to where I'm at now. And I'm still constantly creating new versions of myself. So yes, do it. It doesn't have to be nice. It can be low quality. In the age of TikTok, it does not need to be beautiful. You don't need to be beautiful. You just need to do it. And that takes a lot of courage. There's a lot of posting and running after it happens. You just don't want to feel any negativity, and sometimes you have to. But that's how you improve, and that's how you get better. So definitely takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there. But at the end of the day, you become the voice for the companies who need the marketers. So think about that in your positioning. So now we will open the floor up to Q&A. If anybody has any questions, we have a microphone right there where you can come up and ask Ben questions, Aaron, or myself.
Get really close like that? Okay. Got it. Thank you. Hi, guys. I'm
Hi.
Vinny from Classics. Big fans of all you guys. Tammy made some content for us earlier this year.
Yes,
It was awesome.
yes.
Thank you. Performed very well. We dealt with our account getting banned back in March. Sucked. It's terrible. I feel like we learned that there's this black market to get your account back. One thing I think would be really valuable to know from you guys is the costs associated with it. You know, are you guys seeing a range of costs, a specific cost?
Don't pay more than $2,000.
That's great feedback. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I could barely hear you. What was the question?
How much did you pay to get your accounts back?
Oh, to get the accounts back. So like something I've kind of been hearing more and more lately is a lot of the times you pay these accounts to get it back, they just delete you. So then you pay them again. I mean, not all of them do that, but like definitely a lot of them do that. I've gotten back a lot of accounts organically without having to pay anybody. There's like ways of doing it. It's not guaranteed, but you can increase your chances of getting it back at least, you know? So just do some research or even go to our website. We have a whole article about it, how to get your Instagram account back, how we've done it. Yeah, check that out for sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
It's a really good tip. Any other questions? We've got one coming.
Hello, how are y'all?
Hi.
What's y'all's favorite page on Instagram currently? Or social media, not necessarily Instagram.
I really do love Weed Feed. I send pictures to my mom who hates how much I smoke, just to try to get her to respond because they're really cute. She never does, but
I love the Cannabis cutie. I really do, I swear. I love Pussy Weed.
yeah, shout out to Pussy Weed.
Yeah. I love Cannaclusive.
Cannaclusive in the house.
I don't know, there's a lot to mention. High Rise puts out some great content. I like
Smoke.
memes. I like weed. I like Top Tree is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At Smoke, at Marty Grimes, they make really good cannabis skits.
Hey, Mary.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you talk more about the engagement rate item and how most people don't understand that brands and companies and agencies, because I work for 3, are looking at engagement rate more than followers, more than comments, and just like what that means for people that are actually successful in the influencer market in the vice venture arena? Because I know people that have like 10,000 followers, an engagement rate of 5.9, and they're still making the same amount of money as somebody with 100,000 fake followers and an engagement rate of 0.8. So can you break that down for people?
Do you want to take that?
Whatever you want.
Well, I'll say engagement rate is really important. It's alarming when I see an account with over 100,000 followers and only 2 comments and maybe 68 likes. That means that their content is not being seen, and it just makes me wonder if their followers are even real, if that's the kind of engagement. My model is to force my followers to engage. So I'll give you information and I'm gonna ask you a question, and 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna get about 10% to 14% engagement on my posts. And that's kind of where I'm averaging right now. In some months, it's even upwards to like 18%. But you have to create a strategy to force your audience to engage. Putting up pretty pictures is great. They may tap a like, but if you grab them, get their attention, and then force them to want to tell you about their first really bad edible experience, you get really great comments and then people responding and talking to each other. And it's even gotten to the point where if I'm not there in time to answer a question, somebody from the community is. So really that's kind of the goal that you should be focusing on, is cultivating the community and not worrying about the followers. You'll have your viral moments, and even if you don't, you have people that are boosting your page so that it is seen.
Yeah, there's a website called socialblade.com. If you don't know it, you should check it out. It should be your best friend. Another variation of that site is called igblade.com. Both of those are websites that essentially will analyze any Instagram page, your own or your competition, and will able to show you how many new followers they're getting every day, how many new followers they get or they lose per month, what their engagement rate is looking like, and a bunch of other data points. Highly recommend this tool to just keep an eye on the growth of your own social pages. As a goal for engagement rate, I would always set a goal to be at 4% or higher. The highest I see is around 8%, is like Kardashian-esque level. And so if you could fall in between that, that's ideal. I know at Weed Feed, we always try to maintain around the 6% engagement rate. And for those of you who don't know, engagement rate is just an equation of your follower count against the average comments and likes that you get on your posts. And to Tammy's point also, don't be fooled by fake brands, fake media companies, fake whatever. You should be able to tell literally within 10 seconds if an account's audience is real or not. If they have over 50,000 followers and they're not getting over 12 comments on almost every post, and that's like really setting the bar low, they probably have fake followers.
Yeah, and even like with engagement, like there's fake engagement too, so you need to look out for that. Like it's really easy to tell, honestly. Like a lot of accounts will buy likes on their photos, or they'll buy comments or whatever, and if you scroll back far enough, like most of them will post a few things before they do that, so you can scroll back and see like, oh wow, he went from 12 likes and now he's getting fucking 3,000. Yeah. He had one comment and now he has 56 or whatever. And if you just click the comments, you'll see the quality of the person leaving the comment and then the comment. It's like, you are great, thumbs up, just like the most generic like shit or whatever. So like with a short audit, if you know what you're looking for, you can tell if the engagement is real or fake as well.
I think one thing I just want to like get out there before this is all done, which I hope brings you hope about the possibility of what you could achieve on social, is in the conception of Weed Feed, it kind of started as an experiment. Dumpling House Media came first, and we were saying shit at meetings like, content is king, content is everything, and all that shit. Like, we've all heard it, you know? And I'm sure many of you, like myself, wonder, like, how far could content alone actually take you? What other things do I have to pair with content? Growth strategies, growth hacks, giveaways, influencers, whatever the fuck. I just want you to know that it is possible on social media to have a content-only play. It is possible. You don't have to pair it with a million different strategies, and Weed Feed is the proof of that, because we have done nothing but create one piece of original content every day, post it, and let the internet do its thing. It takes patience because it didn't happen immediately by any means. But there's a snowball effect. You know, eventually people start realizing a consistent style of content, and they respect the consistency and they like the content, hopefully, and they start sharing it, and then they share it because they shared, and their mom shared it because they shared it. And I just want to put it out there that so long as you do the testing thing, so long as you're creative and you're thinking outside of the box, and so long as that content is original and you're being consistent about it, it can reach the snowball level, and you can be the next media company, cannabis brand, or whatever that has 100,000 followers in a year from now. So just be consistent, be creative, and just put your head down, do your shit, step away, and don't let it drive you crazy.
Really good advice. Do we have any other questions for the media panel?
I'm just kidding. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Tammy.
Can you get closer?
Yes. Oh, perfect. Oh, it's like open mic night. We love to see it. Okay. More so, I would say for Weed Feed. And sorry, I'm a terrible one with names, but with High Rise. I would say as leaders in the industry, especially in your field, what are you guys doing to like combat like appropriation within the industry for creators like Tammy and myself that are of color that have to deal with shadow banning more consistently, especially being unfavorable to algorithms? And also like, what are some of the things that you guys are doing within like your community outreach to make sure you expand within the community to help those people that the cages that they're filled with of brown and black people, and like how the industry's built on that but doesn't reflect that at the top?
I think there's a few ways. And first of all, thank you for bringing that up because it's such an important topic. One, it's leading by example. I think that if you're doing it because you want change in this industry and you're not doing it so you get a gold star next to social equity, it comes naturally. You attract people to work for you that come from different communities, and then before you know it, you're surrounded by a diverse group of employees, co-founders, influencers, and what have you. I think talking about these things whenever you have an audience is super important, and we try to do that and use our platform and give others our platform so they can reach our audiences and communicate. I think that having a mission attached to your brand it's 2021. If you don't have a purpose beyond selling weed or putting out content, then it's a losing battle. And so, we've only scratched the teeny tiny surface of monetization when it comes to weed feed. We're pretty much just doing things organically, but anytime we're selling anything, there's always going to be proceeds that go to an organization and also take advantage of that opportunity to bring light to that organization. And so whether that's events or that's products, I think it's always important to give back to the communities that have built this industry in the first place, yet still are like fighting the shitty battles they had to fight in the beginning of it all.
Yeah, and then kind of like our approach to that is just kind of going back to the community aspect and just being very like inclusive of everyone and trying to bring as many different, types of people and groups and joining them all together through these events and aligning people together that can open up new connections, new opportunities, new networks, whatever it may be, and just really giving back to our community and the people that we're trying to build with and just trying to provide as much value to everybody that we can.
Also, if anyone knows of any organizations that are New York based specifically, we love to support local. I mean, we love to support all people, and that's what we've been striving to do up until now. But like, we are open to feedback. We are open to recommendations. We are open to being able to affect individual lives. I know sometimes it's hard, like, it's so easy to just like donate. It's like, so here's a percentage, but like, I would love to be able to like personally touch individual lives that have been through the struggles. And being from New York, it'd be nice to be able to do that locally. So if anybody knows about people or organizations or a mom who's still driving 4 hours every day to visit their kid on the bus, to visit them in jail or whatever the fuck, slide in the DMs. I check every single individual DM period, and we're always looking for new avenues to support. So
Nice. I would say for myself, when I was looking on the internet, I saw a lot of really beautiful women, the bongs and thongs category, but I just didn't see women who were being taken serious with cannabis. So I decided that that's what I was going to do, and I'm very conscious. You guys are not seeing me in underwear or my cleavage or my butt, and that's just because I felt like there's a whole class of women that need to be represented here. And the sexualizing of my medicine is just not gonna get me to wanna try it. So I decided that I was gonna carve out a niche for people who look like me, or for mothers, or for women who are professionals and have multiple degrees and are successful and are potheads. I had to keep my usage a secret for 11 years. I was a goody two-shoes and a leader, and I couldn't let people know that I was smoking weed. And then my ex-husband had a platform, and of course his wife couldn't be out as a pothead, but upon divorce and going to grad school and teaching everyone about weed, it was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do this. So for me, it was just about being that. And then in our communities, they're not going to trust something that damaged our community tenfold. You stole our humans and legally kidnapped them for vegetables, for legal slavery. So I can't just go into a community and say, hey, you should try this, when they truly believe that it ruined our lives, our elders. It didn't ruin our lives, it was the legislation around it. So I have to also be very cognizant of that if I want to help affect and create change, as much as I would like to be on the internet taking bong rips until it's funny. But I also have a mission that's close to my heart. And then I'm also a mother, and these things will be Googled one day. So I have to be mindful of that as well.
If you're a brand or a company or a media platform and and you're creating a new show or a series or content, just think about all the people that smoke weed. There isn't just one kind, you know? Like, there's a couple of these like weed content platforms coming out there, and like you see all the different content, and it's just like, there's just so many bearded dudes that are the host of a show, and like they're not the only customer. It's like, if you want to think about it from a business perspective, it's not great business. You know, if you want to think about it from a content perspective, it's just like, if you don't want to do it because it's the right thing and you just want to follow the business, it's like, women make really good hosts of shows, you know, like just in the same vein of trying things, try that. Try to diversify your content with people that look different. It works. If you want to do it for the business, if you want to do it for the planet, if you want to do it for the culture, whatever your reasoning is, do it. Because it fucking works. Women are the biggest customers of every single category in America right now. Period. You know, you look at Facebook ads, they're all targeting women. It's even if it's for the men, they're targeting women because the wives are shopping for their husbands, you know? And so if they're the shot callers, like, don't you think they want to be seen? Put them out there. Give them the platform.
Amen.
What's up, guys? Thanks for the panel. Jordan kind of asked my question, but I also want to know, I know you guys were speaking about the quality of your following being more important than the quantity. What are kind of ways that you would recommend, I guess, reaching out? Because most of the brands, they don't care about the quality. They want you to have the numbers because that's what they're doing is their marketing. So in a place where we are getting deactivated on a daily basis, what would you guys say is the catalyst for moving in that way?
School them. Go on socialblade.com and screenshot your page versus the two others they may or may not have mentioned on the call that they're considering for that project, and be like, look, 100,000 followers, 0.02% engagement rate, 10,000 followers, 8% engagement rate. If they don't know that, and especially after you remind them and you be like, okay, look, I made it easy for you, A versus B, then fuck them. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're stupid.
Yeah, definitely educate them. I mean, it's all about convertible buyers. So they can have 100,000 followers, but if they only have 20 people that are engaging, they're not going to be able to convert 100 people. So kind of going at them with the data of, I actually have about 50 people per day that are engaging organically and are interested in what I have to say versus homie over here that has 20 comments, but about 11 of them are very suspect, and I think 2 are family. So
Yeah. Also, if that's so true about it. I have this one page that has like 600,000 followers. I can't sell shit on that page because people aren't being primed to look at me as someone who knows what shit to buy. They're following me because I post funny content on that page. Not every page, you can't just translate follower count to how many sales you're gonna get out of it. That's just not how it works, you know? And so when you're a micro influencer, just to put a label on it, it's more personal. And so like that following, they're gonna really listen to what you have to say. So if I posted an ad for a brand that was like, buy this new bong to my 600,000 followers, and you posted an ad to your 10,000 followers, you will probably get more sales than I will. Remind them of that. It's not about the number. It just isn't. So go to those meetings feeling empowered because you really do have the power with the numbers or without, I promise.
Hey guys, if you're working for a cannabis brand and worried about getting your social account taken down, I'm curious to get your perspective of all the platforms between Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. If you only can invest in one social channel, which one is the most free to post cannabis content on?
For me, it's Instagram. TikTok just does not, anything I post, it's automatically up for review and taken down. So I just kind of don't go there. Facebook shadow banned me early on. I hear Snapchat is very promising. They allow a lot more. But then also, who's your target market and what's the age demographic of that app? So I would say, from my personal experience, Instagram and maybe even a little bit of YouTube, if you can get away with it, but they're notorious for taking down pages too.
Yeah, I would agree. I think to invest in building a community and an audience, it's Instagram. If you're trying to sell inventory and go viral about a product because you want to sell out of it, I would say actually TikTok. You will be taken down, and you will have to start a new account and post it again, and you will have to reach out to cannabis influencers and have them post it on their channel. But there's like a 0% chance that you're gonna start a new Instagram tomorrow, post a piece of content, even if it's the best content ever, and have it like be sold out on your website or whatever. Whereas on TikTok, if the creative is good and all the stars align, you do have a chance that 1 million people are gonna go to your website to buy that product, and you're gonna sell out the next day.
Yeah, I think TikTok right now obviously is like the fastest way to grow, but you just have to be smart about it and clever, and you can't post, nugs or whatever. You have to post like skits or funny things or little workarounds or whatever it may be. But I think like a big like void right now is like audio, like podcasts. You know what I mean? Like nobody's really people are doing it, but I think there's a huge lane for that to be had, and you can just openly talk about cannabis and what you're doing and your products. And also Clubhouse. I don't know how familiar everyone is with Clubhouse, but audio platform where you can connect with different communities. And yeah, we've like definitely met a ton of like great people on there in the industry. And same thing, you don't really have to worry too much about the censorship because it's just audio, and you can kind of, it's not visual. So
Do you like Clubhouse?
we were like super into it for like a few months. It's kind of like tapering off. I feel like it kind of came out hot, and now it's kind of just like a little stagnant. But I think it's a cool concept, and I think it's different and cool, and like we connected with a ton of like really like dope people on there for sure. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, Clubhouse was a great networking tool when we were locked in the house and wanted to meet other people. It felt like live conferences, but it definitely has kind of tapered off a little bit, like you said.
Oh, I fucking hate Clubhouse. I don't know. It's like Clubhouse.
Everybody was an expert on Clubhouse.
I just feel like it's an opportunity to just like talk about yourself for an hour. Like it's not even a conversation. It's just like, hi, I'm Bob, and I own $5 million business. Like I don't give a shit. Like,
Yeah, some of those introductions were definitely.
But like it is like everyone that's on Clubhouse is like I feel like a hustler to some degree. Like they're all like trying to get stuff, and so it is a nice place where there's a lot of people who are working hard to be seen or to get shit done. So it is a nice kind of like place to find like-minded people. I guess I just like. Oh, so much talking about yourself.
Are there any other questions?
What's good? So I don't know the scope of this talk, but how would you recommend tracking attribution or conversions with either B2B marketing or B2C? Any advice?
We need a whole new TED Talk for that attribution. I don't know where to begin. Codes. What type of media advertising? I think it would be easier to narrow.
So let's just say hypothetically, you build a brand on Instagram and the company generates hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue. How do you attribute your impact?
Okay. Simplest UTM codes for your link in bio if you want to track how many sales from your website came directly from people clicking the link in your Instagram. But of course, that's just going to track the bottom of the funnel people who like saw the Instagram and decided to buy or visit on the spot. How can you attribute how much of your annual sales can go back to just Instagram? I would say it's nearly impossible. But as you probably know, for asking a question like this, there's a sales funnel, right? There's the top of the funnel, which is the first time somebody ever saw your brand. There's the bottom of the funnel where they finally decided to pull the trigger to make the purchase. And there's like at least 8 to 12 instances in between where the person saw your brand here, saw an influencer post it, saw a billboard there, saw the Instagram and it had a lot of followers, saw that. All those steps are necessary to get to the point where they're going to be like, I'm going to make the sale. So if you want to say that on average, the steps before acquisition are 8, I would divide your annual income by 8, and 1/8 of that I would attribute to Instagram and social.
Dope.
Do you have anything? Do you have?
I would just say, yeah, using unique links and unique discount codes would be obviously like the main ways, and yeah, that's typically how we do it. We do stuff like that.
Thank you.
That's a good question though, because that shit makes our lives fucking impossible. We're like, oh yeah, hire us to do Instagram and social media for you. And then there's like that guy who came from Red Bull that's driven by data only, and they're like, how much of this equal, you know, it's really hard. But that's what I tell them. Like, you can't skip. You know, no one's gonna see a brand for the first time and make a purchase. It's just not how it works. And so anyone that tells you that social media don't affect sales is just fucking wrong.
Very much so. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us. Can you tell us where we can find you?
At Weed Feed.
High Rise TV or High Rise Agency. Yeah, got a couple pages on IG, YouTube also, High Rise TV. Yeah, check it out.
And you can find me at the Cannabis Cutie on Instagram or thecannabiscutie.com, where you find educational products. It has been a pleasure being with you all this afternoon. I hope you guys stick around for the next panel. If not, enjoy the rest of the show today. You've all been great. Thank you.
Thank you.